I am Quan Yin. Draw in the light. I am Quan Yin. I delight in your movement. I delight in your flight. Let the heart take flight. Let it happen now, tonight. I am Quan Yin. You see, oftentimes in your mental reality, the mental reality of the third dimension, you get stuck in your pictures, you get stuck in someone else's pictures, you get stuck in duality. The dual nature of the third dimension has to be, it's part of the balance until it moves fully into the higher dimensions. All living creatures, all matter beings in the third dimension, it will be dual in nature. You have a dual nature, and yet you are understanding your whole nature much more frequently. Your frequency is bringing you forward. Oftentimes, your mind sees the dual nature as something to judge, something to get rid of, something to release. Ugh, how come I can't release this part of myself that procrastinates? How come I don't release this part that's sour, that's angry, that's bitter, that's hurt? Those are parts that allow you to understand and ascend. In a sense, you go through those as if they were a tunnel, and at a certain point, you're going through them. The same contraction that you had as a human baby, you developed as a fetus, and your energy web of light, your particular one, connected to that fetus and had experience of developing, of moving into that physical form, and then had the experience of moving that physical form from the physical form of the mother into the physical world. That process was a movement through a tunnel that was a contracting tunnel. It was the contractions that pushed you out into the world. It was your knowing that it was time to move with those contractions and out into the world. So now, that metaphor, that experience was preparing you for the understanding of moving through the contractive energies of this world to understand your expansion. Expansion of consciousness, expansion of compassion, expansion of the heart's awareness, the heart's knowing, expansion of the mind and the mental body. You see, the mental body exists. Your brain is wired very subtly to your body, through your nervous system, through these subtle vibratory patterns. Your brain is also wired to your higher self through even subtler patterns. As your scientists, doctors, intuitive healers, and so on begin to express in the third dimension and know your systems and how they work more, then you get a visual or a picture of how the more subtle bodies can work. It is not written in your medical journals yet. It is not fully on the computer. And yet there are those of you who hold an awareness of the subtle body and even the brain's subtle connections to the higher body. And so your mental body exists in other dimensions just as you are able to exist in other dimensions. The mental body has the ability to experience the highest of highs. The mental body has the ability to fly with the angels, to exist on the plane of peace and harmony. The mental body has the ability to go into the lowest of lows, to sink into the hell realm of the earth, to sink into separation, suffering, sorrow, anger. It has the capacity for both. It has to have the capacity for both to allow you to have the same expansion that pushes you up. So you were born onto the earth in a physical body. Most of you have forgotten the experience, yet through breathing you can reconnect to that self, experiencing yourself moving through the body. There are those beings who are coming into the earth now and keeping awareness. They have been here for 15 years, for 10 years, for 12 years. Look to your children. Help them balance on the earth. Pay attention to what they say. Those children that remember floating in the waters and coming through the bodies of their mother. Those children that remember being in another place on the earth. They are here. Turn to the children, focus on the children, help the children find balance on the earth. This will bring you great joy, and you will connect to spirits and souls that have more awareness and less density. When you were born and chose to come into the earth in the 30s, in the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, when you were born and chose to come into the earth, in reflectively and respectively, you were coming into denser times with denser bodies. The denser bodies were needed to hold the energy of the earth and to allow yourself to have the expansion. Think of this now. So as you are coming into a light body, as you are activating it, as you are moving into the plane of ascension, you are going through the same contractive process that you did as an infant. You are moving through a tunnel, a wormhole, a doorway, an opening. Call it what you will. It is contracting around you and pushing you forward. And so those irritations, pain, suffering, sorrows, accidents, disharmony, disillusionments, disappointments that happen are part of the contractions that are pushing you towards your higher vibratory self, towards being one with that self. At a certain point, what you know as the human race will become a race of that higher self. Imagine that. There have been visionary artists who have depicted the idea of your higher self. There have been those who led you through visualizations of seeing that glowing light and seeing it come towards you, seeing the outline of a divine being and beginning to recognize it as yourself. You are marrying that self now. You are merging with it. You are becoming one with it. The yin and the yang and the wholeness.